Wizards of the Coast just announced a brand new secret lair today, and in an interesting and bold turn of events, they made the decision to make this secret lair worthless.
The Magic Historian.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well. We are here to discuss Secret Lair Purrfection, which is the name of the brand new secret lair that we just learned about today. So, this secret lair is a weird one, both in distribution and the underlying concept for it. So, we'll get into why I called this secret lair worthless after we do the most fun part, which is taking a look at the new cards that are in the secret lair. So, these are all reprints we're dealing with. We're going to start out by taking a look at Generous Gift. If you didn't figure out from the name Secret Lair Purrfection, this is a cat-themed secret lair, and it's actually the second cat-themed secret lair that we are seeing produced, showing that clearly Wizards of the Coast thinks there's more cat lovers than dog lovers, because otherwise I feel like we'd be getting a second dog-themed secret lair. Anyhow, first card is Generous Gift. It's 1 white and 2 for an instant that says, destroy target permanent, its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. The flavor text says, alas, the Meowtropolis was struck by a devastating catastrophe, leaving the ground littered with debris. And this isn't the only card that is going to have cat-based puns in the flavor text. So, if you take a look at the artwork, you may actually remember it from a video I did recently where Wizards did a survey on all the different art that was upcoming, and I said that they tend to put stuff that they've already produced into these kind of surveys, and I was right, because that's where we actually saw this bizarre artwork that totally gives me a weird Dumbo vibe, right? You have a cat that's dressed up like an elephant with big floppy ears and a googly trunk, and it's just this weird sort of cat cosplaying as an elephant man wearing suspenders and striped pants. It's so weird, and its tail is like some sort of rope that's been lit, like it's on its way to a keg that, you know, in the cartoons. It has a very cartoony vibe with a cat playing hacky sack with a car, and there's a robot floating there in the air. Like, honestly, this card is absolutely wild from an art perspective. I look at it and go, what is going on? Like, the flavor text doesn't seem to connect to the card. It's just a random whatever. If you know what's going on in this artwork, let me know, because I don't know. So, first thing you'll note is this is an uncommon card. This was originally printed as an uncommon, and actually everything that we're going to look at in this secret lair is either common or uncommon. And I believe this is the first secret lair ever to be comprised entirely out of commons and uncommons. So the Generous Gift is kind of a funky card, right? I mean, being able to destroy any permanent in exchange for giving your opponent a 3/3 green elephant, in most cases, that's going to work out pretty well for you. But a 3/3 elephant token isn't like nothing that you're getting in return. So if somebody destroys one of your permanents and you get that 3/3 token, that can still be used to attack your opponent. So it's not like it's a complete wash in that way. This is a color shifted concept, actually. They originally did this card as a green card, and that was Beast Within, and then they basically changed the idea of it into Generous Gift for Modern Horizons, and here we have the reprinting of it. I will admit that as a choice of card, it doesn't super excite me, but you're going to find that's actually a trend with this secret lair. The cards that they've chose to include aren't terribly exciting from a power level and acquisition perspective. So, the next one we're going to look at is Heirloom Blade. This is a 3 casting cost artifact equipment. It gives equipped creature +3/+1. It costs 1 to equip it, and it has the additional ability, whenever equipped creature dies, you may reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card that shares a creature type with it. Put that card into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Now, this artwork I find to be a lot more fun. You have what looks like an everyday house cat. He's got a little bit of yarn or something tied around his neck. I don't know if that is a different styling of pet collar. Maybe that's how the Japanese have their pet collars. I'm not 100% on it, but it gives me that kind of a vibe. But the serious stance and face of the cat totally transforms it into something different. It's holding this ancestral blade with a sense of honor and integrity. Very serious. I like it a lot, actually. And you've just got like the moon there in the background. I don't know if he's out in some kind of moor or whatever. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a cat inheriting the blade, or if this is possibly a cat spirit that is presenting the blade to the next generation. It's hard to tell. You've got that kind of magic emanating up off the hilt of it, which could be the previous spirit of the last generation handing the blade over. I feel like it's most likely the cat is being given this blade, and it's just got this serious look on its face because it's respecting its ancestors. It is amusing to see a cat presented in this at least semi-serious way. It is a very big contrast to the generous gift artwork that we just looked at, right? And out of all of the artworks, this would be the most serious, right? But how serious is it? So, not too bad, not like a super exciting card, but an interesting card. The next card we're going to talk about is the most exciting card from this box set, and that is Chain Lightning. So Chain Lightning was actually originally from Legends. This card has been a part of the game for a very long time, but for a good part of Magic's history, we really didn't get any reprints of it for many, many years. That has changed in recent times, and there have been a number of reprints of Chain Lightning, but it's still a really cool card. 1 red for a sorcery. Chain Lightning deals 3 damage to any target. Then that player or that permanent's controller may pay 2 red. If the player does, they may copy the spell and may choose a new target for that copy. So the idea is this is lightning that you blast your opponent with it, but then they can feed more mountain energy into it and, boom, and send it careening back into you so that you're also getting electrified. I remember actually having those fling the Chain Lightning battles back and forth with my friends back in the days of like, mana flare, we're all playing red, everybody burn! Like, it was a lot of fun, but Chain Lightnings weren't easy to acquire. The Chain Lightning was a prestigious version of Lightning Bolt, even though Lightning Bolt is pretty much strictly better, right? Lightning Bolt is just 1 red, instant, 3 damage to any target. So the Chain Lightning has the downside of A, being a sorcery, and B, if your opponent's playing red, they can also take advantage of it, but then you can send it back, right? So it's an interesting concept for a Magic card overall. 3 damage for 1 mana is hard to argue with, which is why Chain Lightning, even though it's a sorcery and can be bounced back, has found a home. And there are interesting corner cases where you can literally Chain Lightning your own creatures and then choose to pay the cost and make an extra copy of the Chain Lightning, right? Because it doesn't have to target your opponent's stuff. You are theoretically allowed to target yourself or one of your permanents, and then chain it along. In most cases, you're not going to want to, but I do like cards that have that extra level of corner utility where you never know, hey, maybe I'll use it like this. And I have to admit that the artwork on this Chain Lightning is a lot of fun. You can see this maniacal looking cat who's got his arms, his little paws up in the air, and he's like, yeah! And there's a mouse up in the air just being electrified. Like, look at how much lightning is flowing everywhere. And the cat's got almost like a maniacal mad inventor look on his face. I am a destroyer of worlds! Just seeing a cat unleashing this level of power is really amusing because if you look at it, 3 damage is 15% of your starting life total. Imagine a little cat comes out of the back alley and it's like, meow, and you're like, oh, hey, kitty, and it's like, get some, and it just starts electrifying you. Like, that is amazingly silly, and I find it genuinely delightful. Now, let us move on to the final card we have, which is Kodama's Reach. Now, this was originally from the Kamigawa block, so it's 1 green and 2, for an arcane sorcery. There are certain cards that actually care about spells being arcane. Either they trigger off of them, or you can actually splice arcane spells together, which admittedly was the most confusing mechanic to me in the entire history of Magic. Splice onto arcane really messed with my head. I didn't get it at first. I understood banding more readily than splice onto arcane, but after I got it, I was like, okay. The sad thing is the Kamigawa block really did suffer from being underpowered, and that was intentional because of what happened with Mirrodin. But we don't need to go too off on an aside with that. Let's get back to Kodama's Reach. So what does it do? Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, put one onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand, then shuffle. The flavor text says, in the perennial garden, the catnip blooms forever. That is a funny idea. The different species, different animals would have their own idea of paradise. So there's this perennial garden that exists where there's unlimited catnip, and you can see this cat's just wiling it up. He's like, I love me some catnip. Roll it up, son. You know what I mean? I just love the vibe of this. This is a very fun Kodama's Reach. It just looks like he's like dancing and pouncing around, and you can see like the hair on the top of his little furs flowing up off of his hands and his back and stuff, and it kind of actually matches the little catnip thing that's growing in the background behind him, kind of tying him to nature. This cat feels like it's tied into this garden, like it's consumed so much catnip that it's slowly but surely becoming part of the garden. So these are the 4 cards that are included in the secret lair. And now we're going to discuss why I said that Wizards of the Coast made the interesting and bold choice to make this into a worthless secret lair, right? Because basically, I guess I should let you know this as well, because this will factor into the whole experiment. The secret lair is only going to be available for a couple of days at the Hasbro Con. I may have mentioned it at the beginning of the video, I can't even remember, but it's going to be available at PulseCon, which is Hasbro's convention. That happens in October, and it's only available for 2 days unless they release it in another fashion online. But what they've chosen to use to make up this secret lair is all just common and uncommon cards. And on top of that, they didn't pick really old school cards that hadn't been printed frequently, that had a high secondary market value. And that's where it gets really interesting for me. Because if you break down the prices of all the cards in the secret lair, none of the cards in here are worth more than $3 if I'm being generous. So with generous pricing, Chain Lightning is like $3. Kodama's Reach is like $1. Generous Gift is like $1.50. And Heirloom Blade is 50 cents. And that's me being generous with the pricing, like genuinely. So you have about $6 worth of Magic cards in this secret lair, and we've never seen them do something like this before. There's always at least one card in the secret lair that people can point to and go, that's your money card, that's why you buy it. Normally when you buy a secret lair, you are going, if you're spending, let's say the secret lair is $40, then the cards inside that secret lair are going to be worth at least $40, and in a bunch of cases worth more than that. Now obviously, since there's an unlimited amount of these secret layers to buy, there is these like pricing fluctuations that, okay, maybe they're going to go down a little bit in value, but at least when you go to buy the secret lair, you can look at it and go, okay, there's $40 worth of stuff in here. This secret lair, that's not the case at all. If this secret lair follows the trends of other secret lairs and the price is $30 or $40, then you're looking at the cards in the box set being worth 15 to 20% of the asking price. Now, we don't know what the secret bonus card is, but we never know what that is when we're evaluating a secret lair. So that's never part of the financial equation for any of the customers. So they literally have chosen to make a $6 product that they're going to most likely expect you to spend $30 or $40 on. And that's a bold choice. Clearly, they're banking on the fact that this will be a convention exclusive. They're also banking on the fact that there's going to be enough cat enthusiasts that they're going to buy this secret lair. So to me, this seems like an experiment to see if they can get away with putting less secondary market value into secret lairs, but still extracting the same price tag on secret lairs. Because up until now, it's felt like they have had economists or accountants sit down and look at the secondary market value of cards and go, okay, here's the valuation breakdown. Here's how much money you're putting into the secret layer. Here's the projected sales. Here's how much we think it's going to affect the secondary market. Because while Wizards of the Coast won't acknowledge the secondary market, they are very much aware of it. Things like the secret layer that only had one bitter blossom in it, and the only other things in the whole thing were tokens. And the fact that they were selling that for $40, they knew that was because of the secondary market value of the card, right? So they do very much pay attention to the secondary market. And this seems to me to be an attempt to go, can we give them less secondary value? Can we take cards that are essentially worthless on the secondary market and actually make more valuable versions of them? Because that's what this will most likely turn into. My view is this. If you buy a secret layer for $40 and there's 4 cards like this in it that all don't have that big value, you're just going to go, okay, I spent $40 on this. There's 4 cards in this. Each of these cat cards are worth $10. I won't take less than $10 for them. So these special edition ones, there may be far fewer of them out there, especially if it's never offered for sale online. You will only have the 2-day window to get these, which means there'll be way less of them. And I could easily see them essentially doing the opposite of what they normally do, where they take cards that are worth more on the secondary market, put it in the secret layer, and those cards go down in value. Instead, we're going to have variations of these cards that have a higher value. And if this works, sky's the limit. You know what I mean? I really do feel like that's why they chose to make it a cat secret layer, is because the cat secret layer has the inherent fact that people love cats. The previous cat secret layer sold very well. And if you look at the previous cat secret layer, it had more cards in it and included tokens. I think in total, there were 9 or 10 different things in that secret layer. And this one's only going to have 4 cards in it, plus the bonus card, so I guess 5. But either way, this is a bold experiment. Making a worthless secret layer in an attempt to make more expensive variations of uncommons that don't have a high secondary market value is definitely... I find it fascinating, and I do believe that's what they're doing here. But that's my thoughts on the subject. So let me know what you think about what's going on, because obviously I'm just one dude yammering his thoughts on the internet. And I want to take a moment to thank all of my patrons for supporting this one dude yammering on the internet. It means a lot to me. And if you enjoy what I'm doing here, consider joining my Patreon and supporting my crazy channel. Thanks for coming by, everybody. I'm going to leave a link to the Time Stream Chronicles because it's a Magic the Gathering lore series that I just managed to finish up yesterday, and it's some of the most epic lore from the history of the game. So if you haven't already experienced it, you're missing out. Go watch it now. Thanks for being here, my friends. See you next time.